Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And honestly, if Bravo ever sends us on an ultimate girl trip, the real drama won't be the friendships. It'll be our failed hobbies, abandoned book talk dreams, and the fact that we're somehow trying to become crochet queens overnight.
It's a full-blown delusion era Snark squad. Like, I am looking at a pile of yarn in the corner of my living room right now that is actively mocking my entire existence.
Oh my God, the yarn hoard. It's so real.
Right. We watched exactly one TikTok tutorial, like one 30-second hyper-edited video set to some lo-fi hip-hop beat, and suddenly we decided we were going to hand-make custom crochet jerseys for the entire squad.
I really thought I was going to be a prodigy. Like, I marched into the craft store with so much unearned confidence.
You really did. You bypassed all the beginner stuff.
I totally bypassed the acrylic yarn. I bought the ergonomic bamboo hooks, the expensive, like, ethically sourced merino wool. And my current creations, they look less like jerseys and more like highly confused, lopsided potholders that survived a natural disaster.
The tension is aggressively wrong.
There are gaping holes where there absolutely should not be holes.
Yeah.
And one side is somehow 3 inches longer than the other. I'm just telling myself it's avant-garde at this point.
You're creating abstract fiber art. That's the PR spin you need to put on it, babes. But let's look at the underlying psychology here, because it's not just the crochet. We have to talk about the baking delusions, too.
No, please don't bring up the baking.
I have to. The algorithmic pipeline from aesthetic crochet to aesthetic sourdough baking is dangerously short. We see someone in a dimly lit Nancy Meyers-style kitchen kneading dough, and our brains just, like, short-circuit.
I am so guilty of this. You watch one softly lit video of a woman in a perfectly ironed linen apron scoring a loaf of bread, and suddenly you think you're a Parisian pastry chef with a generational sourdough starter.
Meanwhile, you've never baked a muffin from a box.
Exactly. I literally spent $50 on obscure ingredients last week that I didn't even know how to pronounce. Madagascar vanilla bean paste. In my cart. Culinary lavender. In my cart. I bought a proving basket.
Do you even know what a proving basket does?
I do not. And it was a complete and utter disaster. I tried to make these highly complicated multi-day laminated pastries. You know, where you fold the butter into the dough like 18 times?
Oh, yeah. I walked into your kitchen on Sunday. It looked like a flour bomb had detonated in a closed-door environment.
It was a hazardous material zone.
There was a literal suspended cloud of particulate matter hanging in the air. The counters were sticky, and the pastry tasted exactly like drywall. Just dense, unflavored, structural drywall.
I was emotionally devastated. I put my heart and soul into that dough, and it betrayed me.
This is the architectural danger of the TikTok spiral, you know? It completely warps your sense of time and capability. You open the app to decompress for a supposed 5 minutes, and you disappear into the algorithmic void for 2 solid hours.
Literally. 2 hours. Gone.
You start on a simple baking tutorial, and before you know it, you're deep in the trenches of hyper-niche pop culture gossip, getting aggressive astrology readings telling you your life is falling apart because of a retrograde, and bookmarking elaborate hobby tutorials that require a blowtorch.
I feel so seen and so attacked right now. I have hundreds, like literally hundreds, of saved videos organized into little folders sitting there, mocking my complete lack of follow-through.
And it's bleeding into our reading lives, too. We have to confess this to the Snark squad.
I know, we really do. Babes, are we no longer readers? I look at my abandoned book talk dreams, and I could actually cry.
The physical books are just sitting there.
I keep buying these stunning, gorgeous hardcovers with the custom sprayed edges and the foil stamping, and I just use them as aesthetic background decor.
They are acting as very expensive, highly literate coasters at this point. Let's be honest about the mechanics here. You buy the book for the dopamine hit. You open the first chapter, read 3 pages, and somehow, completely unconsciously, your phone is back in your hand.
I don't even remember picking it up.
Suddenly, you're watching a stranger restock their refrigerator with clear plastic bins while the book collects dust. It's the performance of being a reader versus the actual focus of reading.
It breaks my heart because I used to devour books. So I have to ask you and the Snark Squad, did our book talk dream end, or are we just in a very long reading slump? Please validate me.
I think we are caught in a web of performative aesthetics, honestly. And until we break the dopamine cycle, those sprayed edges will remain unread. But speaking of performative
Oh
aesthetics,
my God, yes.
speaking of chaotic eras and delusion, we have to connect this to the absolute masterclass in delusion we witnessed on television this week, because thinking we can master a skill overnight leads directly into the delusion of the housewives thinking they haven't aged or changed a bit in 2 decades.
It is the exact same energy.
Babes, we are strapped in, seated, and have to discuss. The premiere has us spiraling.
Spiraling completely out of control. We are unpacking the absolute madness that is the Season 5, Episode 1 roaring 20th premiere. They are kicking off this massive anniversary trip in Orange County, which is literally ground zero.
The birthplace of it all.
And it is everything we wanted, everything we feared, and about 10 things we need to discuss in therapy.
It's a beautifully malfunctioning time machine. We are getting nostalgia, 20 years of unaddressed psychological baggage, and women who adamantly refuse to evolve, all trapped together on a luxury yacht. Let's get into the mayhem, starting with the triumphant return of Nene Leakes.
I screamed. I'm not exaggerating. I literally screamed at my television. Just seeing Nene pull up to Portia's stunning Atlanta mansion to help her pack, it felt like a cosmic shift.
It really did.
It's been 6 long years since she was on this network, and seeing her strut back onto our screens, she looked absolutely incredible.
Let's analyze the historical significance here, because this isn't just a cameo. Nene is the architect of the modern reality TV archetype. Before her, housewives were mostly just showing off their dates. She introduced the concept of the read, the reaction gift, the viral soundbite. So her return is the queen coming back to her kingdom.
And giving full-on, unapologetic glam. The outfit alone deserves a documentary, head-to-toe Rick Owens. She was styled to the absolute gods. The wig was laid with architectural precision. It was just so deeply necessary to have her kick off this trip.
I agree she's a titan of the genre, but we also have to put our analytical glasses on and acknowledge that she has roughly 3 new faces since we last saw her.
Oh, stop it.
Let's be real about the aesthetics, babes. The physical evolution is striking. The bone structure is entirely different. People online are saying she's giving a brown-skinned Kim Whitley vibe, or maybe T.S. Madison from the year 2045. The face card has definitely been updated and swiped.
I think she looks beautiful. But yes, obviously some heavy tweaking. But what fascinated me even more than the physical glow-up was the energetic dynamic between her and Portia.
The tension was thick.
They acted so excited to see each other, jumping up and down in that massive closet. But my emotionally invested heart was beating so fast because we know the dark history there.
Right, the off-screen friction, which is always the most dangerous kind of reality TV tension. For the Snark Squad who might not be deep in the blogs, we have to break down the rumors about that Netflix sitcom, The Upshaws.
Yes, the casting drama.
Allegedly, the sitcom was casting guest spots for housewives, and Nene and Portia were supposed to do this lucrative crossover gig together, but the word on the street is that Portia absolutely refused to film alongside Nene.
Which is just wild to me. Why would you turn down a bag and a chance to act on Netflix?
The mechanics of Hollywood billing and ego, honestly. Portia apparently didn't want to play second fiddle to Nene in a scripted space, so producers had to scramble and cast Cynthia Bailey instead. So when you watch this packing scene, you aren't just watching 2 friends chatting.
No, you're watching 2 savvy businesswomen navigate a financial betrayal on camera, wrapped up in air kisses and designer luggage.
Exactly.
It's so layered and so sad. Whatever the root cause, it just added this thick layer of tension. But seeing Nene sit on that velvet ottoman and list off the women Portia was going to travel with, it was magic. When Portia hyped up Giselle saying, "Oh, Giselle and I are close," Nene just gave her this look.
A silent, devastating look. Because Nene has previously called Giselle and Robin starless, which, if we break that down, is an incredibly devastating analytical read. Calling someone starless isn't just calling them boring, it's a structural critique of their television presence.
It means you occupy space but don't generate heat.
Precisely, and we will get to Giselle's desperate attempt to manufacture star power in a minute. But first, the core 7 touchdown in Orange County. We have Vicky, Luan, Teresa, Kyle, Portia, Giselle, and Lisa Barlow all arriving at the hotel.
And the absolute second they hit the lobby, the chaos begins, spearheaded by the OG of the OC herself, Vicky Gunvalson.
Vicky is truly built different. The complete lack of shame this woman possesses should be studied in a lab. They have barely put their designer duffel bags down, the concierge hasn't even handed out room keys, and Vicky is already aggressively handing out welcome gifts.
If you can call them gifts.
Right, which include personalized snore buttons that actually play a digital recording of her own snore. And this is the absolute peak of the reality TV grift Kodo insurance applications.
I was crying laughing, but my jaw was also on the floor. She is looking these glamorous women right in the eye, women from New York and Beverly Hills, and trying to force them to sign life insurance policies on day one of a vacation.
We have to unpack the mechanics of this grift because it is masterful in its audacity. She isn't just casually mentioning her business, she's pitching them, saying, if you don't have life insurance, I'm your gal, let's write it down right now.
It's unhinged.
She is attempting to monetize her castmates before they've even had a welcome cocktail. It is Housewives sabotage disguised as hospitality.
And the reactions from the other women were so telling. Luann looked like she wanted to call security, but Lisa Barlow, oh my God, her face needs to be preserved in the Smithsonian.
The complete dry disdain.
She doesn't yell, she doesn't laugh, she just deadpans. We could have passed on this. Lisa Barlow just radiating total, unimpressed, detached energy was everything.
It was a fascinating culture clash. You have Vicky, representing the early 2000s sweaty hustle of the OC, clashing directly with Lisa Barlow, who represents modern, highly curated, detached irony. Lisa is not here for the aggressive OC summer camp vibes. She is here for luxury.
And speaking of luxury, day one immediately transitions to the main event, which is the yacht party.
The yacht of past lives.
This was such a brilliant, sadistic producer move. The ladies walk onto this gorgeous yacht expecting champagne, and instead, they are greeted by life-size cardboard cutouts of their season one selves.
It was a psychological jump scare. A literal jump scare of bad 2006 fashion, over-plucked thin eyebrows, and original faces. Seeing those cutouts was a harsh reminder of the passage of time and the evolution of cosmetic dermatology.
It was so emotional, though. I was getting teary-eyed just looking at how much their lives have changed over 2 decades. But of course, Vicky instantly makes it chaotic. She can't let a poignant moment breathe. She points at the cutouts, yells who's changed the most, and immediately targets Teresa.
Which is deeply hilarious and hypocritical because Vicky herself has had multiple iterations of her face. But Teresa's reaction to this targeting, we have to absolutely roast this. We have to break down the mechanics of Teresa's delusion here.
Please do.
She looks at this cutout of herself from season 1 with the iconic ultra-low Eddie Munster hairline, the original lips, the original nose, and she says with a completely straight face, the only thing I got done was the tip of my nose.
The delusion. The unmitigated plastic surgery delusion. We are looking at a woman who has clearly had extensive fillers, lip injections, breast implants, and a magically receding hairline that has traveled 3 inches up her forehead, and she is claiming just the tip.
It's insulting.
Why do they lie about this when the archival footage is literally standing right next to them in cardboard form?
Because it's not about facts, it's about control. In Teresa's mind, admitting to wholesale physical changes is admitting to insecurity. But if we are analyzing who actually had the biggest glow-up, the biggest structural physical evolution, it is unquestionably Kyle Richards.
Oh, completely. No contest. You look at season 1 Kyle with her witchy, dark aesthetic and thin lips compared to the physically shredded, hyper-fitness Kyle of today. It's night and day.
And Kyle actually owned her evolution in a very funny way. She admitted she changed a lot and specifically weaponized her past to shade an old enemy.
Blaming Lisa Vanderpump.
Yes, blaming LVP for a botched Botox lip flip back in the day. That is the architecture of historical housewife blame. She pins her physical flaw from a decade ago on her enemy. Masterful.
Just own the glow up and blame your enemies.
Yeah.
But the conversation gets even deeper when Giselle asks the group to go around the table and share their most iconic moments.
Let's break down the submissions. An iconic moment requires spontaneity and visceral emotion. Teresa claims the table flip. Correct.
Yeah.
Unassailable. Luann claims be cool, don't be all uncool. Also correct. Pop culture history.
Lisa Barlow proudly claims her hot mic garbage whore rant, which was a despicable thing to say about her best friend, but undeniably iconic. Portia claims her megaphone drag. Vicky claims the little family van.
But then we get to Giselle. Giselle, who set up this entire conversation, has to submit her own moment. And she flops. Hard.
It was so embarrassing. She puffs out her chest and says her iconic moment is, "Wherever I sit is the baddest place in the building." I literally paused the TV. I was like, what? That's just a quote that nobody remembers.
Exactly. It's a manufactured tagline she's desperately trying to force into the cultural lexicon. Let's be analytical. Giselle doesn't actually have a viral, organic, iconic moment. She treats reality TV like a scripted soap opera where she is the head writer, but she forgets to give herself a compelling character arc.
Think back to the Potomac reunion. She didn't even have a story package.
She was sitting on those couches looking shocked that the show wasn't revolving around her. Her delusion in trying to claim she elevated the show is wild. Karen Huger has the wig shift, the Sing Sing reads. Giselle just has pretty eyes, a terrible wardrobe, and pre-planned questions.
Okay, that is a brutal read.
Yeah.
But she wasn't the only weak submission. Kyle claims her most iconic moment in over a decade is running out of a restaurant in Amsterdam.
Running away, fleeing the scene of the crime. It perfectly encapsulates Kyle's entire structural contribution to the franchise. She orchestrates the dinner party, lights the fuse, and then literally flees wearing a dramatic cape. It proves she brings nothing but high anxiety and a propensity for fleeing from her sister.
I completely disagree that she brings nothing. You're looking at this too analytically. Emotionally, Kyle running away was a raw, visceral reaction to deep family trauma. It was iconic because of how real her panic was.
We can debate her emotional utility later, but the yacht conversation takes a massive dark turn when Teresa starts talking about her iconic moments leading directly to her federal tax fraud and jail time.
This was the heaviest moment of the episode. Teresa starts playing the ultimate victim. She starts crying, talking about how her ex-husband Joe put her in federal prison by making her sign fake W-2s, claiming she was just a naive wife in the dark.
And this is where Vicky Gunvalson transitions from a chaotic grifter into my absolute hero.
Wait, really?
Let's break down the mechanics. Teresa is playing the ditzy, helpless wife routine. Vicky, who built a massive insurance business, is sitting there vibrating with rage. Finally, Vicky aggressively bangs the table and screams, "I always pay my taxes. You never sign paperwork without reading it."
I was so incredibly torn. On one hand, my heart breaks for the emotional trauma Teresa went through, being separated from her daughters. But on the other hand, Vicky is screaming the absolute truth.
I completely validate Vicky here. Let's dive into the legal mechanics. This wasn't just a missed signature on a joint return. Teresa fraudulently claimed jobs she didn't have to secure massive loans. You cannot sit on a luxury yacht, cashing reality TV checks, and act like you accidentally fell into a multi-year federal tax fraud conspiracy. Vicky was right.
It's a harsh truth, but it is the truth. If you are grown enough to negotiate a Bravo contract, you are grown enough to read your tax return.
Exactly. And Lisa Barlow's confessional analyzing this was perfection. She stared at the camera and said, why is she taking her vulnerability and treating it like a moment for a lesson on TurboTax?
The TurboTax read took me clean out. And you could feel the producers panicking about how dark it had gotten because they immediately had Portia give a twerking lesson on the deck to lighten the mood. Babes, it was a horror film.
It was medically concerning. I was ready to call a chiropractor.
Kyle trying to twerk looked like a literal seizure. There was no rhythm, no bounce, just frantic full-body spasms. I was cringing so hard my face hurt.
It highlighted the absurdity of forcing these women into physically awkward situations to break the ice after a fight about prison. But they survived the yacht, and we have to transition to the evening event, the 80s bunco party at the Quiet Women.
Kyle orders a literal beat-up old family van to pick them up as a prank. It was such a brilliant callback to Vicky's Season 1 meltdown.
And they head to the Quiet Woman, which is deeply ironic because nothing has ever been quiet at that restaurant.
It is hallowed ground for screaming matches. And the guest list was a fever dream. The current OC ladies, Tamra, Shannon, Heather Dubrow. Heather brings a cake missing a bow, referencing the Sarah Winchester incident. Joe De La Rosa from Season 1 is there, and Gina Kiev is walking around loudly proclaiming she is the first housewife ever.
The sheer concentration of ego in that poorly lit restaurant was suffocating. If you lit a match, the vanity would have combusted. But it gets so much weirder because Vicky, dressed in this horrendous Phil Spector-looking 80s wig, gets on the mic.
And instantly trauma dumps. She starts crying real tears about Slade Smiley calling her Miss Piggy 20 years ago. She says it drove her to get a facelift. And then she sets up this bizarre funeral-like candlelit shrine on a side table with a framed photo of Slade.
Let's do a deep psychological dive here, because this was psychotic behavior. It was a literal altar to a deadbeat ex-boyfriend of a former castmate. Why are we doing a seance for Slade Smiley in 2026? But analytically, it shows how deeply the fandom and the men on these shows damage these women's psyches. She permanently altered her face because of a man who couldn't pay his own child support.
It breaks my heart. When Vicky was crying, you could see the other women nodding in silent agreement. They know that exact sting of public insults about their looks. I felt so emotional for her.
I would feel emotional too if it wasn't presented via a creepy candlelit shrine. But thankfully, Countess Luan steps in. Luan, who just wants to flirt with the male scorekeepers, looks at this morbid shrine and is viscerally disgusted.
She asks, why do you want to look at his face? And then completely shatters the framed photo on the table, glass flying everywhere.
I gleefully praise Luan for that action. She literally and figuratively tossed his memory in the trash and yelled, "Party started!" She disrupted the standard housewives trope of dwelling on past trauma.
She reset the energy of the room. But the party was just getting started, because now we have to talk about Giselle's masterclass in mess.
If you ever wanted to see a reality TV producer working overtime off the clock, this was it. Giselle clocked in for a 5-episode vacation and decided to earn her entire check on night 1. She intentionally seats herself between Tamra and Shannon.
And without missing a single beat, she just asks them, "Shannon, do y'all hate each other?"
She doesn't even watch Orange County. She just knows they have beef from Twitter, and she is armed with a giant ladle, and her interrogation works instantly.
Tamra immediately goes low. She weaponizes her so-called perfect life against Shannon's misery, screaming across the table, "I have a husband, kids in college, I'm not the one struggling."
Let's connect this to everyday human behavior. Have you ever seen someone use their stability as a weapon against a friend in crisis? It was a full violation. It's the classic Tamra playbook. Kick someone when they are down. She needs Shannon to be the messy one so she feels secure, and then she mimics drinking, mocking Shannon's DUI.
It was deeply cruel. To have your best friend of 10 years throw your darkest moments in your face in front of strangers, Shannon handles it by getting up, saying, "Fuck you, I'm out of here," and storming off.
Shannon showed restraint by not dragging Tamra right back. But Giselle is not satisfied. She initiates part 2, the bathroom scene. She drags Tamra away from the main cameras to reveal a hot mic moment.
From the yacht.
Yes, on the yacht, Vicky said she worries about what Tamra will say for the cameras. Giselle twists this and tells Tamra, "Vicky said she can't trust you and you make things up."
She completely changed the context to make it sound malicious.
That is triangulation. She intentionally mistranslated it, and it causes a massive fallout. Tamra tracks down Vicky. Vicky smoothly denies saying Tamra lies, but admits, "I'm afraid of conflict. I'm afraid I'm next."
It was a rare moment of accountability from Vicky. It disarmed Tamra completely. But the best part is Vicky realizing what Giselle is doing. She realizes Giselle is self-producing.
And confronts her on the van ride. Vicky tells Giselle she is stirring the turd, putting her in a box, and delivers the ultimate read. "You are an invisible boy. I don't even know you."
You are an invisible boy. I died. I was initially mourning the loss of the peaceful anniversary vibes, but that was hilarious. Side note for the Snark Squad, I know there was chatter about Kelly Dodd making some Mejia-related comments about the cast dynamics online. To be clear, we are strictly impartial here. We don't take political sides. We just report the drama in the Bravo ecosystem as it exists.
Exactly. We just look at the structural mechanics of the drama. But back to Giselle. While you were mourning the peaceful vibes, I was analytically praising her. This is a 5-episode trip. They do not have time for a slow burn arc. The pacing demands immediate conflict. Giselle manipulated 3 veterans without even raising her voice.
I think it was clunky and obvious, but I concede the pacing point. All right, let's get into segment 1, Girls Trip MVP.
Analytically, who carried this premiere? For me, the episode MVP is unquestionably Vicky.
Wait, really? Over Luan? Hear me out. Vicky provided the chaotic engine. She brought the insurance grift, screamed about taxes, wore a Phil Spector wig, built a trauma shrine, and coined Invisible Boy. She dictated the pace.
The resume is strong, I'll give you that. But my MVP is Luan. Smashing the photo wasn't just funny, it was a structural disruption of standard housewives' trauma tropes. Plus, she was just vibing, trying to find men. She is the hero.
Fine, we can agree to disagree. Best outfit of the premiere.
Honorable mention to Nene's Rick Owens in Atlanta. But for the trip, the 80s bunko looks were so aggressively camp that I have to reward them.
They were atrocious. Giselle looked like she was auditioning for a community theater production of Annie. I'll give best outfit to Lisa Barlow on the yacht, purely for the weathered 90s coach aesthetic that offended the internet.
It was very vintage. Funniest confessional.
Lisa Barlow's complete disdain for the nostalgia, calling Teresa's trauma dump a lesson on TurboTax.
Yes. Or Portia's commentary during the twerking lesson, scientifically explaining her geographical assets. Okay. Most chaotic housewife, undeniably Vicky, without a doubt. So, who would we actually invite on vacation with us?
I would pick Portia. I want the late-night twerking lessons and the party energy.
I am choosing the most low-maintenance option for my sanity, Luan. Give her a Frenchman and a dirty martini, and she will entertain herself for days. No crying, no trauma shrines.
Until she breathes through her vagina all night and keeps you awake. Let's do the top 5 most iconic housewives moments ever, based on the yacht chat.
1, Teresa's table flip. 2, Sheree Whitfield's "Who can check me, boo?"
Yes. 3, Luann falling in the bushes in Mexico. 4. Lisa Barlow's garbage whore hot mic.
And 5, Kyle's, "You're such a fucking liar, Camille," a cultural reset.
Much more accurate than her running away in Amsterdam. Okay, segment 2. Vacation or violation? We rate the behavior as harmless fun, passive-aggressive, housewife sabotage, or grounds for never traveling together.
First up, Vicky aggressively pushing Kodo life insurance in the lobby.
That has to be housewife sabotage.
With a heavy dose of grifting. She is trying to financially benefit off their mortality before they unpack. Sinister behavior. Next, Kyle's family van prank.
Harmless fun. It was a great callback and lightened the tense mood.
Agreed. Next, Tamara weaponizing her perfect life and bringing up Shannon's DUI.
Full violation and grounds for never traveling together. It was malicious and designed to publicly humiliate a friend.
A toxic travel companion indeed. Finally, Giselle dragging Tamara to the bathroom to repeat Vicky's hot mic comments.
Housewife sabotage.
Yes, executed in pure producer mode. She planted a poisonous seed and watched the garden burn, which leads to segment 3. The Villa group chat. Let's draft fake texts sent after the cameras go down.
Oh, Lisa Barlow's absolutely texting.
I'm drafting it right now. The lighting in that family van was completely unacceptable. Furthermore, I will not be participating in any future trauma rituals involving cheap candles. Love that for you guys, but absolutely no.
So accurate. I'm drafting a frantic text from Shannon in all caps at 1:15 a.m. I cannot believe Tamara. I am calling my lawyer. Does anyone have extra Advil? Do not tell Tamara what room I am in.
And at 3 a.m., Vicky sends a blast. Ladies, such a fun night. Reminder that life insurance premiums go up after age 50. I have attached a PDF link. Please e-sign by breakfast.
And Giselle just replies to the thread at 7 a.m. So, who else wants to fight today?
Fully rested and ready for production.
Segment 4. Next, Destination Prophecies. They're heading to Beverly Hills and beyond. Let's predict the next friendship implosion. Who is Giselle going to target?
I think she turns on her roommate, Luann. If Luann starts bringing random guys back to their suite, Giselle will lose her mind and start a puritanical fight about boundaries.
Plausible. What about the biggest argument? Who snaps at Vicky's need for control once they leave the OC?
Teresa's going to absolutely lose it on Vicky. Teresa has a short fuse when disrespected, and Vicky treating her like a tax-evading child on the yacht was just the appetizer. Teresa's going to flip a table on her.
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Likely drama starter. Giselle. Without a doubt.
Give me one completely ridiculous prediction for the rest of the season.
Kyle will be confronted about her marital issues and flee in dinner parties so fast she leaves her prized Birkin purse behind on the chair.
Living a Birkin is a sign of severe emotional distress. My prediction. Vicky will try to sell a fixed annuity to a waiter at SUR in Beverly Hills. She will pull out a clipboard during the goat cheese appetizer and ask a 22-year-old actor about his long-term portfolio.
I can see it happening with painful clarity. Babes, this premiere was everything, but it left me with a really provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear the final thesis.
After 20 years, are these women trapped in caricatures of their Season 1 selves? Are they terrified to evolve because the fans demand the table flip or the family van freak out on a loop? Like, is Vicky acting chaotic because it's who she is, or because it's what she thinks the Bravo audience requires to keep her paycheck?
That is the existential dread of reality television. They are well-paid prisoners of their own iconic moments. It's a gilded cage, truly.
It really is. We want to hear from you, Snark Squad.
Yeah.
Have you entered a crochet delusion era? What hobby did TikTok convince you to try? And are we still readers? Or did Book Talk break us?
Confess your sins in the comments.
Stay shady, stay creative, and we'll see you on the Snark side.